Welcome to The Tech Life with Rich Conte, bringing you stories from the front lines of the tech industry and the insider's perspective on starting, growing, or thriving in a technology venture.
Welcome to another episode of Silicon Harbor Radio, brought to you by the Tech Life podcast and Silicon Harbor Magazine. I'm your host, Rich Conte. Each episode, we take you inside Charleston's rapidly growing tech and startup community and give a voice to the local entrepreneurs and other contributors driving that growth. One of the more interesting aspects of the technology industry is how value gets created when technology is coupled with another industry. The experience, knowledge, and intimate familiarity with a given business domain can provide fertile ground for what is the underlying process that drives the tech industry, identifying valuable problems to solve, and applying technology to solve those problems in a way that creates value. This dynamic often leads to the birth, if you will, of new technology entrepreneurs and ventures. Entrepreneurially minded individuals with that deep understanding of an industry decide they want to use technology to turn their knowledge into solutions that bring value to others in their industry. We've seen those dynamics play out in Charleston as our technology and startup communities grow. One of the more notable examples is Boomtown. We featured co-founder and CEO Greer Allen on the podcast a while back, and he talked about his experience and his family's long history in the real estate industry and how it played a significant role in Boomtown's startup story. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak with a real estate professional who has started the transition to technology entrepreneur and hopes his venture can follow in the footsteps of Boomtown and become another Charleston success story. Our guest on this episode of Silicon Harbor Radio, brought to you by the Tech Life podcast and Silicon Harbor Magazine, is Nat Wallen. Nat is the founder of BellaRuby. Well, welcome to the show, Nat, and thank you for inviting me into your wonderful home studio here. This is a great setup.
Well, thank you for coming, Rich. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you traveling across Charleston to get here. As you can see, this is kind of a crazy room, and this is probably a pretty good metaphor for my life. For all the listeners out there, this is a 10 by 12 bedroom. 4 years ago, I converted it, and it was a beautiful bedroom, our guest bedroom, and now there's wires everywhere and PVC holding up a blanket. And literally what happens here is my wife comes into this room, and this is her art studio. She literally wants to strangle me when she walks into this room, and that's probably a pretty good metaphor for my entire past 4 years in this whole launch thing. It's been a wild ride for sure, so thank you for being here.
Can you start by telling listeners a little bit about BellaRuby, the problems you're solving, and who your users and customers are?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, Bella and Ruby are my two children, and they're the whole reason why I'm doing all of this. But I have been a real estate agent since 1995, and I got into real estate just like anybody does, and it's hard. It's really, really hard. And I had a lot of trial and error. I had several years where it was kind of a roller coaster ride. And then I ended up getting pretty good at real estate. Became a top agent here in Charleston. And my whole MO for getting business was I would go after what's called the low-hanging fruit in real estate. And it's probably the toughest nut to crack in the industry. I would basically come into my office every morning, call for sale by owners, call expired listings, and I would go and get listings. And some years I'd have 100 listings or more. And after about 15 years of that, I feel I made a huge mistake in not keeping in touch with the people that were really important, which were my past clients. I was just so busy. And that propelled me to literally where I am today, which is solving the problem of not letting important relationships slip through the cracks. And that's why we created BellaRuby for real estate professionals, loan officers, closing attorneys, and real estate agents. Those are our market.
What have been some of the challenges you face as you try to bring these solutions to market? And what have been some of the more significant things that you've learned along the way?
That's a good question. My first 2 years of going through this process, I had originally thought I created a product that I put on the shelf ultimately. I knew I wanted to create something for the real estate industry. I just wasn't sure what. So I created a two-sided product. On one side, it was the vendor network. So as real estate professionals, we're constantly connecting people to the people that we know. So we're big connectors in our communities. And I created a word of mouth referral automation system that would allow people to invite their trusted connections to be part of this personal network, like a digital Rolodex of people I know. And then I would share that with the public. And what would happen is people would reach out through my system And I would kind of become the middleman broker of this little mini referral that I'm giving to these plumbers and painters and roofers and things like that. Part 2 of that was I created a tool for realtors that was kind of like a blend between Dropbox and real estate marketing. So it was a single property website builder that you could infuse with documents. And when someone says they need a survey or some document for a real estate transaction, I could give it to them in a nice wrapped up bow in a nice, beautiful website. So I created some technologies, and to step aside from that, I thought, and this was a few years ago, I thought, okay, so how can I sell this? Because there are so many people grabbing for the real estate agent's dollar. I didn't really want to be that guy. So I said, why don't I position loan officers to buy it from me or subscribe from me and then dole it out to real estate professionals? And that was a brand that I created called Agent Converter. Long story short, there are some consumer laws out there, RESPA laws, which say that a loan officer can't walk into my office with a box of donuts and give me something of value expecting me to give them clients in return. And even though I designed my whole system around meeting those RESPA codes, there's such a scare in the industry that I realized that it wouldn't sell. So I had to put it on the shelf. And the big lesson that I learned from all of that is, well, first of all, out of the 2 sides that I created, it's not really a pain point. I don't really have a pain point with trying to create a referral system. I don't have enough pain to want to buy that. I don't have enough pain around sharing documents in real estate. So where I was in life is desperately wanting to get into this tech world. And I was kind of fabricating problems and not really fabricating them, but I was trying to make a solution, but I was also trying to make a problem to fit that solution. And the reality is they weren't really problems. So long story short, I pivoted and I created BellaRuby Engage, which is where I am today. And in a nutshell, as a real estate agent, I want to stay connected to you for the lifetime of your home ownership, because the easiest and best way for me to get real estate business is for people that know me, like me, and trust me to refer. And all those years that I was going after the low-hanging fruit, I forgot about those people. And that's what drew me here today, is to create a system that I can create this once. I can give a homeowner some great software to help them manage their home, and it creates that connection between me and them for the lifetime moving forward. Challenges? There have been several challenges, and I was kind of trying to think about it the other day. Not just challenges, but like decisions. You know, I think I've made 40,000 decisions in this whole process, from what color is the logo going to be to should we include this feature, this button. It was much more than I thought it would be when I got involved with. This was supposed to be a 5-month project, and here we are in starting year number 4. And we're launching.
What have been some of the experiences or some of the milestones or some of the learnings that you've achieved along the way that have given you confidence that you're on the right track now with BellaRuby Engage?
Well, with BellaRuby Engage, I made it a point to go out and talk to 3 people. Not create an avatar in my mind of what I think people may want, but I knew that it was important to, I have a tool for loan officers. I have one for closing attorneys. So I made it a point to get out and speak with them and understand the industry from their perspective and make sure that what I was designing was something that was going to ultimately solve problems for them. Because otherwise, I'm, again, back in fabrication mode, and I wanted to make sure that I'm kind of beta testing literally every single thing that I do moving forward. And that's exactly where we are today. We just launched, we just went live, and we're in the process of providing free beta accounts. And the idea behind that is I want feedback. If there's a problem, I don't see it because I'm so close to it. And that's where we are now, is getting people's input is just so critical. And I didn't really realize that for my first few years. And that's where I kind of hit the hard stop early on and then had to pick back up and try to move forward, which is what I've done.
Now, there are several real estate-related tech ventures in Charleston, of course, including Boomtown. What makes this market an especially good place to try and launch a real estate tech venture?
I think, first off, real estate is probably one of the most profitable things on the internet, because if I have a great website as a realtor and I attract a $3 million buyer just because I have a great website and I have a great web presence, well, they're going to come and do business with me, and I'm going to make $90,000, $100,000. So it's a pretty profitable space to be on the web. As far as Charleston goes, I'm obviously very biased. I've lived here my whole life. I keep seeing in Condé Nast and in all these other publications that we're the best place to live in the world. And there are a lot of things going on here, and I think that attracts talent. And that, coupled with the fact that we're in a great real estate market and a very desirable location, then I think that's why we're seeing these real estate startups popping up. And, not just startups, but like Boomtown, they're doing great business and making good strides in the real estate world. But to answer your question, I think it's really, we are in business for ourselves. I am the customer service person. I am the marketing director. I take out the trash. I have to build business. I have to put out fires. I'm looking for ways, and just like other agents, I'm looking for ways to make that easier. And I think that's why we see so many real estate apps. But there is a bigger reason for why I'm doing this. So if I could back up 15 years, when I started getting successful in real estate, I had the magic sauce. I had it figured out. I would just come in every day. I would speak to a few people. I would set appointments. So the idea is, in the morning, I'm not in real estate. In the afternoon, I'm in real estate. Because when I'm in front of someone face to face, then I'm in real estate. And I would walk into my office and I would see all these agents just struggling because they didn't have the secret sauce. Mm-hmm. And because it's such a competitive industry, not software-wise, even though there's some competition there, but just in general, people generally like to hold their cards close to their chest. They don't want to share the secret sauce. And I would walk by people and just literally be standing on the edge going, oh, I can help this person so much. But then selfishly, I'm like, I got to protect myself too. I shouldn't give away my trade secrets. This has been such a turning point getting into what I'm doing, because now I can take what I know and I can actually create, and I can help people, agents, colleagues of mine, which is really, really exciting for me. And I've never really been able to do that before.
How has the experience of transitioning from real estate professional to technology entrepreneur changed your perspective?
Well, it's a slow transition. I've got the product built, and I've got a couple of products on the line, and they're all going to be, in my opinion, I'm obviously very close to it, but they're going to be kind of game changing for the industry. Like I have a free CRM coming out. It's gamified, that it brings realtors together all over the world that are working in real estate. And, I can have the greatest idea in the world. I can execute on it, which I've been doing. I can launch, but the real job is starting now. So I haven't really transitioned yet because I don't have backers. I don't have angel investors. I've funded this myself. And I'm still selling houses like crazy because the stuff is expensive, So where I am now is beta test, get the great feedback, make changes, make it as good as humanly possible, and continue to do that throughout the life cycle of BellaRuby in general. And then ultimately get to the point where it's like, okay, if it makes sense to where I shouldn't be selling houses, then I'll stop. But I love doing what I'm doing, being in real estate. So I haven't really transitioned. I've had a toe in both sides of the pool, I guess you could say, and more heavily in the tech side, because there's just a lot of work. It's just me, and I work with a great friend. His name is Arun Prasad. He's in India. I've spoken with him probably 10,000 times over the past 4 years. We speak several times a day, and I just have to give out a shout out to him because I wouldn't be here. But it's just he and I and a guy named Ned that's an incredible UI designer that's helped us tremendously. And it's been a really kind of small, tight team, and that's what we are. It's been a lot of workload for everyone getting where we are. And of course, I've had outside help too. My family has been tremendous. My brother is in the industry. He actually works with you with Blackbot, and I've been bouncing things off of him for years because he's a sharp mind. And then I can't forget about Joe. He's helped me tremendously with copywriting, just bouncing ideas, and a lot of wordsmithing involved. So it's a lot more than just creating this software. It's like every single aspect of it, every nuance, every discussion, every thought. You just can't be in a vacuum with this stuff. You need feedback.
What are some of the specific things you're most focused on right now in terms of moving BellaRuby forward?
Okay, so we have a couple of different launch plans that we're working on. We're going live in 145 markets. And, again, the product, it's called Engage. And basically, real estate agents get an account from me, and then they can dole out homeowner dashboards. And in a nutshell, what that is Homeowners get all the documents that they may want or need in the future, and then they get access to all of my trusted connections, which is that digital Rolodex that I was talking to you about a little bit earlier. And then they'll have an insurance vault and some maintenance plans and basically a concierge type service from me, their realtor. So the things that we're working on now is we're getting it in the hands of as many homeowners as possible to make sure that they understand the invitation and they understand what they're getting. We're talking with all of the real estate agents that are our beta users, making sure that they understand the process, that they understand the onboarding, and they understand it from a homeowner's perspective. So we're creating homeowner accounts for them. So a lot of it is based on, again, that kind of litmus test, and really more of is what you're looking at on the screen making sense to you? Because that's obviously what it needs to do. And we're moving in as many directions as we can to make it as frictionless as possible. So we'll have hey, Alexa, hi Siri, do this for me, and try to kind of make it hands off. And that's where Arun is really shining. So yeah, it's everything that we're doing right now, but as of right now, it's reaching out to people like you. So thank you for coming here because I want to get the word out. I would love to be speaking with people that are interested in innovations in the real estate industry. I've got 5 or 6 things on the roadmap that I'm working on. The free CRM. I've got an incredible pre-listing package that lives in your pocket. Word of mouth referral automation. I mean, lots of different things. So I would love to be able to do everything I can to continue, obviously, talking with people like you and basically just tell my story and help other entrepreneurs, because I thought it was going to be a lot different than this. I thought I was just going to build this app and get this credit card thing going on the web and wake up and see money and stuff. It's turned out to be a lot of work, and I feel like I'm standing on the bottom of Everest with the Sherpa going, all right, now I'm going to start, because getting it into the market and getting it into the hands of the people and making the world know about it and making it better based on their feedback, it's a job. It's not easy. But I've probably made as many mistakes that you can make in this process. So I would encourage anybody to please reach out to me anytime, because there are certain things that I can save a lot of time and energy and headache on just because I've been through it. And I welcome just someone to tap me on the shoulder with the same advice. Hey, Nat, I see where you're at. Let me help you. This is not a one-man show. Everybody needs help. And I'm willing to pull someone up, and hopefully someone will be willing to pull me up out there too.
As you pursue this transition to technology entrepreneur, what's been the experience of starting to integrate into the broader technology and entrepreneur communities here in Charleston been like for you?
It's been great. So I've been plugging into A Million Cups, which is a Wednesday meeting with a lot of people like myself, with all kinds of just great people, great ideas, all levels of business. And it's been literally me. I met my UI guy, I think it's called Recharge or Refresh Charleston. Yeah, Refresh, which was great. I've been to a couple of those. And it's nice to be able to walk into my real estate office first off and look at someone and go, I'm going to be able to help you in 2 weeks, really help you, and then also walk in and just meet someone that works at Boomtown or someone that's got their startup, and just absorbing what people have been through to either bring value to the table to them and receive value, which is what I've done quite a bit. I'm not in all of the nightlife things because I have children, but I get out once or twice a week, and it's great to be with like-minded people and see so much buzzing around Charleston. I mean, there's 400 tech companies here or more. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's been exciting. It's a really exciting thing to do, for sure.
Well, where can listeners go to learn more about BellaRuby and keep up with your progress?
Oh, yes, thank you. So you can go to BellaRuby.com to start. Those are my 2 kids, Bella and Ruby. And if you're a loan officer or a real estate agent or a closing attorney, or you're an influencer in the industry or just connected to real estate in general, I would encourage you to dig deep into the website. We've got a lot of information that can help really all aspects of the industry. So check that out. And then, of course, there is my natwallen.com real estate website. So I'm still there and open for business and happy to be. And I'm on Instagram at BellaRuby Engage. And then, of course, just look me up on LinkedIn. So just pick your flavor. I'm really happy to have had this opportunity and to be here. This has been great, Rich.
Nat Wallen, founder of BellaRuby. Well, thank you for having me here in your home studio, and thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Rich. And again, I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to speaking with others out there. So reach out to me anytime. This has been a wild ride, and I'd love to reconvene at some point in the future.
It was great to have the opportunity to visit Nat at his home and use his home studio for recording this episode. It was easy to see the level of commitment that he's made to his venture, and it was interesting to hear his ambitious and broad-reaching plans for using podcasting and other forms of content marketing to create awareness for what he's doing. Check out BellaRuby.com and NatWallen.com and reach out to Nat to learn more about what he's doing. Our partners at Silicon Harbor Magazine are a great resource for keeping up with all of the events and news in the Charleston technology, creative, and entrepreneur community. Visit them at siliconharbormag.com and follow them on Twitter at SiliconHBRMAG. You can follow us at TechLifePod and also find us on Facebook. The best way to keep up with the show is to subscribe. For iTunes, visit www.siliconharborradio.com or search for Tech Life with Rich Conte or Silicon Harbor Radio. If you enjoyed the show, let us know by leaving us a rating and a review. Subscribing via RSS is as simple as visiting techlife.libsyn.com/RSS. Well, there's a few short days left in 2017, and we expect to roll right into the new year with fresh content coming out every other week. We're working on a facelift to our branding and marketing strategy sometime in Q1 of 2018. In the meantime, if you need to catch up on any missed episodes, you can find them on iTunes, and also look out for our list of the top 10 episodes of 2017. We started rolling them out yesterday with our episode featuring Fount Studio at number 10, and our episode featuring Reika at number 9. That's all the time we have on this episode of Silicon Harbor Radio, brought to you by the Tech Life Podcast and Silicon Harbor Magazine. I'm your host, Rich Conte, and thanks for listening.